Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Meadowmere Social. Yeah, I don't know. I'm calling them episodes now, but maybe just this one. The rest of them will just be the socials. I don't know. We'll see.
The shortest miniseries ever.
The shortest miniseries ever.
So, if someone in here is a werewolf, does that make them a like and subscribe?
Oh,
No.
You did it, so I didn't have to. Thank you. But if you found this on the YouTubes, you should do that. It is. We're hoping to have more content soon.
And
So
you make it sound old. You called it the YouTube.
The YouTubes.
You know, I'm thinking about getting a YouTube.
We're young. We're hip.
All right. So, guys, welcome. It has been forever since we have seen some of you, and we are eager for the time whenever we are able to start LARPing again. Just a quick kind of update on status of things. We are still in a holding pattern right now for making a decision on when we will start having in-person events again. There have been a lot of developments that have been going on. A lot of data has been coming out from the CDC and local health organizations. So we've been watching those and we've been looking at it. And as the GMs meet, we discuss it and we talk about possible opening procedures and things like that. So regrettably at this time, we don't have any new updates, but just know we are keeping up on things and we are watching, and hopefully we can start opening up in the near future, but we'll see when that is. We don't have a timeline yet.
Honestly, things seem pretty promising. We'll be discussing that, the next GM meeting, but there's been some more specific dates and targets that have been recently released that actually give us some, if those hit as scheduled or hit before scheduled, things are looking pretty promising that we might actually have some games before the end of the year. And I'm super stoked.
Yeah. But we'll see. We're keeping our eyes and ears on the data and finding out what's going on. And as we have decisions, we will let you guys know. So, all right. Enough of that and put it to the side. Let's talk characters, right? Let's talk stories. Let's talk where we were when we left off in our last season. Let's see, what was the last event that we had? Actually, I wasn't at the last event because I was in San Antonio.
Yeah, it was the masquerade ball with the promotion of the Baronet to Baroness Royce.
Right. There was that one, but then there was actually one more event that was at Sequiota Park.
Because Matt Deathridge licked a rock.
Oh yeah, that was the event that Matt Deathridge licked a rock. And
Exploded.
yeah, I was gonna say it supposedly did damage to everyone around them. So some of the storylines that are going on, some of the things that were happening whenever we left off the game.
Where's all the stuff that I bought yesterday? Okay. I didn't do anything.
Some of the things that we left off with, we had the movement that was happening with the noble family. Elena became a baroness. Also, Norman and Renard moved up as well. Renard's getting to be a pretty high position in the noble lines. Norman is right up there with him.
Oh, so who Norman is.
Norman is the brother to Elena and son to Renard. Renard is Elena's father.
Renard is
The Royce family. He is. Oh, what position did he move to? I don't remember. I'll have to look it up because I don't remember.
Is he a baron now?
I'm looking
And
at
Elena is a duchess? I don't remember the order.
Wait, what are we asking? Sorry, I was.
we were talking about the nobles, the Royce family moving up, what positions they are.
All right, Renard is an earl. Norman's a count. Elena's a baroness, and everybody else is the same.
Yeah. So Renard is one step below being in control of the entire duchy. So, yeah, a lot of movement happened with our local noble family. We also had a lot of turmoil going on with the order. With the events that happened leading up to Nova's people arriving and the decisions that were made on who to side with, and the death of, was it Siegfried? Or Ryan, do you remember the name of that NPC that died?
Yes, it was Siegfried.
Okay. So yeah, death of Siegfried, and that was being researched and investigated. So the order is looking into that. And then we also had a lot of wild magic going on in the area. People doing weird rituals, trying to create liches, trying to do some things that really just, one, are illegal, but also two, really tough magic that's going on. So yeah, those are some of the big storylines that we had happening. What thoughts?
Make liches, get stitches. That's
Make liches, get stitches.
Yep.
Will do. No, you're good. Yeah. I know my character, Kaylin, is very interested in this wild magic stuff that's going on, the outlawed magics.
I know that on that last one where the consortium surrounded pretty much everybody else and worked with the orcs to quell the storm that was about to brew. And I guess in one way we kind of made friends or notable acquaintances with the orcs. So I'm interested to see how that story pans out.
Yeah, you definitely did make an impact with the orcs in that regard. Made some contacts through Nadia and some of her people. So we'll see where those events lie, and if the consortium chooses to like pull those strings and see what happens. Yeah. What kind of things would you like to see come from that, Matt? Like what kind of storylines or situations?
Honestly, I'm hoping to tie it into what I have plans for Tanis and the consortium as a whole. Big picture, I'm trying to expand the consortium to the other regions.
Okay.
And maybe create where where in our duchy we have, the main hub, and that way, like, let's say someone from another region works for the consortium, and maybe they need help, or we can go help them, or they can come help us, or
Yeah.
just I think it adds more story dynamic overall.
Fantastic. Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, there is an ongoing subplot. You guys are supposed to be accommodating a meeting between the Vertigron orcs and the Ankram elves. Yeah, we have it should be noted that we have a lot of these things that were planned and are still planned to go ahead, but yeah, so
Yeah, when things open back up, we have some things in motion that will start coming to fruition around that.
Good. Yeah, I'm ready to get back into it. I miss, the social nature that comes with playing our characters and interacting with other people who have no idea what's on their mind or how it's supposed to pan out, and that valued influence we get from each other to help improve the game as it goes. And I really miss that interaction, and
Yeah,
it'll be nice to get everybody back together again.
I agree. What about anybody else? Anything? Any of these storylines that are really resonating with you? Leo, Becca, Ryan, is there anything you're particularly excited about?
not that I could talk about.
All of your stuff is waiting to be used.
I have no idea what's going on yet.
Honestly, same here.
That's fair.
I've got a new character in the works that I'm very much looking forward to building out their kit and getting a feel for how they act in the world. But yeah, other than that, not a whole lot that I can mention very much on.
It's fair.
Sure you can. Go ahead.
How about this? How about what is an aspect of your character that you want to explore more of in the game? For anybody. Anyone can jump in here.
Well, the initial conceit of my character is that they believe themselves to be retired and are moving up to a more, pastoral country life. So I'm looking forward to getting roped into basically which characters he's going to get along with initially, and what subplots he's basically going to get roped into just by virtue of liking people and being interested in their lives and like getting involved with stuff that's kind of not his business, but he just wants to be helpful, and then seeing where that all spirals out to.
Yeah.
Be careful, Ryan. We might get you all up in the consortium, and you'll end up making money and have battle buddies, and you won't be retired for long.
Mine's kind of the same, but I just want to meet everyone.
So you guys remember how Kiyo basically acted very naive?
Mm-hmm.
and use small words and sentences. She's also very mischievous, and I don't know if I've really shown that in any of the.
Yeah, I think that came through with your character.
Okay, I don't really remember the last few events.
It's okay. We've had a pandemic since then.
I just want to see if I can bring more of that can't speak, but
Mischievousness?
yeah. I want to bring out more of her mischievous side.
Good. There's plenty of opportunities for mischievousness or pranks.
I need to finish writing out a plot for Zaravika's whole aging thing that I've decided that I want her to go through with.
Yeah.
And attempting to prevent it.
Because April has realized that dwarves in our world and dwarves in her previous world have very different lifespans.
Not so much realized, but I created that for myself. I didn't have to.
That's true.
If anyone wants to ask me questions on that, I'm willing to be like, ooh, I'll write that down.
Well, go ahead, Leo.
I was gonna ask, is their appearance gonna change much?
There might be starting to be a gray whisker or two, and she's gonna flip out over it. So bright. That was too. Oh no, not too dark. Adjusting.
It's not bad.
There's nothing wrong with gray whiskers.
Oh, tell me about it. I know. I've started getting them.
You want to get some of that touch of gray and get a secondary beard to put some touch of gray in there?
It's okay, Zaravika. They're a sign of wisdom. And you just happen to be very, 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 very wise.
Is anyone interested or doesn't already know like what's going on with that particular situation other than what Jeff said?
I would like to know.
So, I kept my same character from the previous world that we had from I immediately forgot the name.
From the old system.
No, but like the name of that world. So, Duenfell overall was
Miriam.
Miriam. There you go. Thank you. So from Miriam, dwarves there would live to be upwards of 400 years. When I created Zaravika, I wanted her to be like early 200s, or possibly a little bit before that. But when the GMs created the world of Astrel, they made the dwarven people here live to be upwards of only 200 years. And between Miriam and Astrel, there's significantly less magic in Astrel than there was in Miriam, just overall in the world. And I thought about it one day and I was like, oh my gosh, what if because of that lack of magic, the magic in Miriam is what made the dwarves live so long? What if in Astrel, Zaravika started rapidly aging because there's not enough ambient magic? So I thought about that and want to start weaving that into Z's story and like have her start aging and like freaking out over it. I implemented it at one point. There was an NPC that had come in from Imperium and was trying to make deals with people, and Zaravica got really bold and tried to strike a deal with the stipulations so she wouldn't hurt other people. Well, of course, smart Imperium found their own stipulations and started pulling. Zaravica had wanted to, live longer. So this NPC started pulling years off of lives, off of other people. Just little bits here, little bits there, sometimes not so little. But realized it wasn't working. Their magic wasn't working here. They tried to go back home. They were stuck here. They couldn't go back to Imperium. So that wish didn't work. Zaravica's got to find another way.
Fantastic. And this is a great time to mention when you have a player quest like this, something that you want to submit to the GMs, we have a form that you can fill out to give us details about what you're looking for. And then we will take those details and we'll add them into our stories so that you guys can actually have your storylines built into our game. And I posted the link there in our chat. So if anybody's interested in it. Otherwise, if you're watching this video afterwards, we'll put the link in the description on YouTube. And
Jeffrey, where else can we find this link?
It can also be found on the website at www.meadowmerelarp.com, and just click on the character creation page and you'll find a section about quests and it'll be linked there.
I love how in-depth that was. That was neat to listen to.
So, Matt, I think you were telling us about some story stuff that you're working on. Would you mind sharing with us?
Are you talking about the story I'm writing up or the possible plot in-game later thing that I'm working on?
Either or both. Up to you.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and talk about what Tanis and Kieran, because they're two peas in a pod and they always do everything together, what they're doing. But I'll only hint loosely at it because, like I said, I'm still writing it out and I want it to be a surprise for those who are partaking in it. But where Tanis and Kieran are traveling to other regions and talking to other, heads of house, nobility, and things like that. Letting them know that, hey, we're in the area and this is what we're doing. This is what has been working for us. And we'd like to set up a consortium hub in the region. And the idea is that, like on this first major one, they say, look, we have no problem. You can go ahead and do it, but you're going to do something for us to, pretty much show our salt, let them know, for worth even being in their region and getting their people involved. And because essentially all we're doing is we're picking up privateers, people who don't follow the allegiance of another, and then putting them together and letting them work, letting them gain that coin. And we take on a big bad, which ultimately hurts the it hurts a lot of their idea of what we should have lost, but in the end we still make it through.
Okay.
And it's apparent as the beginning of the story, because it starts off, Kieran and Tanis are working their way back to the cabin, and Tanis is all tore up. His armor's gone. He's got bandages all over, and he spent over a week in the back of a dung cart because he couldn't ride a horse. Yeah, that's how it all starts. But the whole thing with the bad guy, it's like it's been something that's been plaguing the region. Everybody knew about it, but they couldn't do anything about it without losing lots of troops of their army or whatever, what have you. And we don't come away unscathed at all, but we do emerge victorious in the great scheme of things. And then the idea is that this is only one region, so there are other regions that we're going to try to work our way into, talk to these other people, and let it be known that our past exploits, what it brought and what it means to have this in the region, would be more of like it'd be beneficial to have us there than to not.
Gotcha.
Because we could take care of those things as a large group. Whereas if you don't want to use your armies to do it, send a bunch of cell swords.
Okay.
But that's the idea. That's where it's going, and I think overall it'll add more dynamic to any characters that are involved. It's not just myself and Kieran. We would feel free to add anybody who's a part of the consortium. It's not, and even if they're not in the consortium, if they feel like they just want to make some money and be part-time workers, we can add your characters in. If you have an interest, shoot me a message. But it's not just my story I'm trying to tell. It's the consortiums. It's part of what we're doing in the bigger picture.
Fantastic. That sounds like it's a pretty big endeavor, what you're going for, and a really fun story to kind of build. This is like the origin of a group that may become a household name in the world. So that's a really fun story to work with. You had mentioned that you're going to different regions and talking to different nobles and stuff like that. Have you been using the website? Because all the different regions are labeled, and we have a bunch of different nobles listed and some personality traits that go with them, if you're looking for names and things like that.
Yeah, primarily the rough draft and the build up of the story. For like I've only started the first part. The rest of this time has been sitting back just trying to do the research and build what direction the story is going to go and how I can use it to tell the story as a whole. So there's still questions that I got to ask the GM to be like, hey, would this person be, would he say this in the story? Would this be okay to give the idea that this person would go about saying, oh yeah, do this, but you're going to do something for me, pal,
Sure.
So I'm still writing out the story and see what I can put in it and get away with just, with creative, what do you call it? Creative license. And then I'll ask my questions about certain situations and things like that, and then flesh those out. And then I can start posting it. The big picture is it's going to be something I can put parts of the story out maybe once a week for a while. I just got to sit down and take the time to flesh it out.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help answer any questions. Hey, can you jump on here real quick and just talk?
Yes, who is it?
The park.
Please pardon this interruption. I don't know if he was getting a call from State Park or Springfield Parks, but A Parks.
not sure what he was talking about. I'm gonna be honest.
April, by the way, your hair is like on point today. Thought you should know.
That's what I was in the living room doing.
It looks so fluffy.
Thank you. I mean, we're going to the vineyard tomorrow. I wanted it to look nice for me.
I'm going to the zoo and I want the otters to like me.
Sorry, I'll tag in. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted. I'm cleaning out my car at the moment. So, yeah. Follow up what Matt was talking about and what Jeff was saying. Yeah. Any type of involvement you want to have on the story as a whole, Matt, and any potential NPCs that you want to try to influence into this, we can talk ahead of time and see if we can't set something up. Maybe some, if you see an NPC that's like, ooh, I might want to see if they'll pick up and start bringing this organization to the imperial capital or another duchy or something like that. We can totally set up a meeting between you and that NPC. So.
Hell yeah! I think that'll more than just enrich the whole world as a whole, and it'll add more to anybody's stories who's either part of the consortium or even around it, or let's say we have a new player who's coming in and doesn't know what kind of background they want. Well, they can always be from another region and say, oh yeah, I know so and so over there, and maybe it'll give them some kind of credence or credibility to other players, and it'll offer that safety net of being an introvert, and they don't talk very much and they're all quiet, and like, well, if so and so, you're with us, and come on, we'll go on an adventure together. Definitely with an NPC, that'll add more depth. Man, there's so many things we can do.
Giving them built-in friends.
Yeah.
Just be aware that if you start doing things like recruiting NPCs, be careful of who you recruit, because we, the GMs, have control over what they do on when they're not on screen.
Oh, absolutely, and that's the big thing too, is that I won't butt off more than I can chew, especially.
No fun.
Yeah, no, I play it safe. I have one character. That's it. That's all I need, and I'm not going to do anything too foolish to put him either in the limelight or make him the target of everybody's, swords. So that's not me.
Yeah.
Well, what's the fun of not putting your fingers in the plot?
Well, okay, you can dip it in there, but I'm not reaching the whole hand. That's just
gotta cause a little trouble.
Yeah, right.
Who's causing trouble?
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Good news, bad news?
Good news. Checking in. So one of the things that
you can have your chair back.
Yay.
I wasn't keeping it from you.
Well, I wasn't going to have you move, but sorry about stepping away, guys. One of the things that the GMs and team have been looking at is other possible sites in the future of where we might do camping events. And that was one of the potential sites that just called me and was asking about some things with our group. So I didn't want to turn down that phone call. Just was ironic that they were calling during our meeting.
Matt was talking about how he wants to continue to fly under the radar and not do anything to jeopardize his only character that he's ever going to have.
Yeah, you've built so much armor wise with Tanis that if Tanis were to ever go away, what would you do with all that armor?
Son of Tanis.
It's funny you should say that because I have built a second shield in case somebody sunders my other primary, which it feels a little weird wielding it because it's 2 inches smaller. But I can get used to it. And then I'm also building a new tabard that is leather and plate, so it's going to be kind of burgundy, but you know, I should have some more mobility in it. So I don't know, you know, if Tanis was to ever like permanently die, I may be dead. So I don't really foresee myself digging too deep. You know, I don't mind playing NPCs. I'll play NPCs all day.
Right.
But as far as spreading the wealth of my character, I'm fine with one. Really, I can focus more on one and try to get what I want the most out of it. But because once you start like doing multiple characters, man, I think for some people that would cause a headache. You know, like
Yeah.
I couldn't see it. I have focus, and that one focus goes to one character. That's just if he dies, I'm dead. So I don't know.
That's awesome. Well,
You guys want to see the box that I'm going to turn into a cart?
sure.
I haven't started any work on it because I just recently got it. But let me move the paintings out of the way. Knock everything down in the process, but it's almost as big as me.
Wow.
That was all. I just wanted to show the box.
That's cool. Yeah, I was looking at building a cart because I don't know the actual status of Gordon, aka Varric.
Yeah.
If he's, you know, so I figured, but his cart was a genius idea. I think we could totally, you know, make another one happen. Maybe a little bit bigger. I'm also working on the plans for an automaton chocobo, believe it or not, that runs off of a gas-powered engine. And if I can create the traction in the foot, I shouldn't have a problem getting it to work. But it may be for only one person to pilot. But yeah, with it being, you know, I'm seriously going to do the chocobo, and it's going to be more steampunk-ish. I want it to look total automaton and steam powered, so that'll be interesting to see how
Fair
it
enough.
works.
If you need materials for a cart, I have lumber. Much
Awesome.
lumber.
Hell yeah. I'll probably send you a message later and let you know what my specs are. Maybe we can both work on it together, or hell, we can maybe make two if you're up for it. I don't know what kind of free time you have, but
I have free time this week. That's my free time.
He's on vacation right now.
Okay, we'll figure something out. We'll make something work.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Matt, I actually wanted to ask you, because it works into some of the things that we've been discussing as GMs. Is there any kind of in-game effect or in-game modification that you would be interested in with the consortium, like with what you're doing with the consortium, some sort of in-game effect that's happening, like if because you're part of the consortium this happens or something like that, or maybe some sort of bonus from having a building? Like, is there anything around those types of items that you'd be looking for?
Well, I know that Doug and I, we have our conversations here and there, and we had talked about building a canvas tent. Um, and he and I had talked about making a bigger one for the consortium. That way, when we have events, whether it be a weekend event or a day event, we can go out there, pitch up, even if it's a small one for the day event or a larger one for the weekend events, and just have a place where consortium members can walk in and ask for missions or look at the overall map that I'm having created. I wasn't gonna supposed to say anything like that, but we're doing the lay of the land of the whole region where we have moving pieces on it. Ships and horses and just consortium members with a little labeled piece. That's the idea. That's the bigger picture. Like that's not going to happen this year. More like maybe next year when it comes to fruition. I like to do things in small parts and then put all the pieces together at the end, and then lightning strikes. But that's like we're not. It's a passive group because you can be a part of the consortium. You can leave when you want to. It's not something you're signing your character's soul away. It's not like being in the service of the king and queen or whatever. It's hey, you want to make some money? This is where you go. Look for jobs, this, that, and the other.
Hashtag not all orders.
Yeah.
So I can come be in the consortium when it's convenient for me.
If you are not part of another organization already, like let's say you are part of the army under the lady or the duchess, you can't be in the consortium because there are times where we put out missions and somebody needs help and says, hey, can you come help me with this mission? It could take all day, and that could cut into your other obligations that would normally, you'd be on call from the Duchess. You can't just,
So
shirk that responsibility.
For, guilds.
Yeah, well, guilds are I think are a little bit different because you have objectives in the guild that you need to make. But who's to say, like, let's say you can't go join the consortium to, be in the same region and do the same kind of work. If you're looking for said or some kind of resource, who's to say you can't hire on to go in that same place and do the same thing? I'm not saying it's frowned upon. You just can't have any other commitments where somebody can say, hey, you don't work for them, you work for me. That's just how it is. We're not trying to make waves. Okay.
Yeah. The least you want to do is step on the toes of something that's of some organization that has a standing military.
Right.
Thank you.
I'm trying to, but I'm in the middle.
Take my cup. Take my cup. Take my cup. Thank
The
you.
only thing Kiana looks for is shiny click clacks.
For you.
Thanks.
Nice and slobbery. Just for you. Freaking plastic gremlin.
Storm likes the plastic.
I love how much this is so bright on camera.
It was very bright.
What you drinking? Health potion?
So along those lines, Matt, is there any kind of thing that you would like the consortium members to have access to by having that structure, like some sort of in-game mechanic or something like that?
That's something else we had talked about before, is we would like more access to healing potions and essentially that's we need more alchemists or access to alchemists for.
That sounds like you want to have a standing contract or commission from the guilds, the Alchemist Guild.
Yes, but at the same time, I also don't want it to cost full cost. I understand that they
Sure.
still need resources to create the potions and poultice, whatever whatever have you. The idea behind that is that we will do jobs to cover those costs, and it's not like, oh, go slay this dragon because you owe us X amount of money or whatever. It'll be like, hey, could you, protect our caravan as we go from point A to point B? And we're like, hell yeah, we could totally do that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
So
just,
maybe some way of having quests that you get a reward out of.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's not always, we're not always looking for monetary compensation. We are looking for other materials or resources or, whatever we can trade with other people to, I guess, better our experience, because a lot of people in the consortium, they're not just about getting paid. They're
Mhm.
also about learning skills and gaining those abilities to better them as a character. And sometimes it's like sometimes it's just they work a little bit to replenish the things that they're missing.
Okay. Part of something that we're discussing right now could play into that. I'm not going to go too much in depth on it, but we're looking at a few things that we feel like could definitely help in that realm. So I was just kind of picking your brain a little bit, seeing what you're interested in. And then if anybody else has any ideas or thoughts, by all means, feel free to share as well.
Also, I would like to just point out, like, there is, like, the standard for stuff that is set up for, like, NPC merchants and guild merchants, stuff like that. But this is by no means the mechanics of that are basically set up for individual one-on-one single transaction type of scenarios. If you feel like, just like in the real world, if you feel like that there's a situation where you can, like, oh, I want to, set this thing up where I have a regular supply of XYZ and I need to set that up with the guild, I wonder if they can cut me a special rate. Ask them, approach them in game and see if there's,
The GMs and staff, and yes, Matt, you're on staff. But we will try to work with those ideas, and like somebody comes to us with something, our job is not to say no. Our job is to say, how can we make this happen for you?
I will also let you know right now, Zaravika would be thrilled not to have to go get her own materials. If
something can be worked out. We can definitely help. It's in a lot of ways there is a quid pro quo. Yeah.
No.
Well, it makes sense that the consortium would be able to get a kind of a deal with the guild, because that would make the consortium basically a guaranteed consumer. So you'd be able to take a little bit less on your profit overall for a guaranteed buyer.
Yep.
Not to like bring economics into this, but
oh no, that's what this game is about.
Yeah.
Part of it anyway.
Like the design of this game is very influenced by the way that economics work, and it's something that we keep in mind with all the decisions that we make with it. So fantastic. Then Matt, I think you'll be pleasantly interested in some of the things that we are working on once they are finalized and come out.
I look forward to it. I miss being out there with you guys and just gaming,
Yeah.
just being out there and beating the hell out of each other.
We'll get there. Hopefully this year, we'll get there. So, fantastic.
Well, hey guys, I've got to head to work. So it was nice talking to you guys again.
Yeah, it was nice to see you
Good
too,
to see
Leo.
you, Leo. Have a good day at work.
Have a good rest of your guys' day.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
It was lovely meeting you.
All right. Well, yeah. Any other character things that anybody wants to bring up, talk about?
I have to talk to Kay, but that's for other reasons.
Yeah. Becca, I'm excited to see you finally come into the game with your own character.
Me too.
I've enjoyed your NPCs.
Her, the first one she played was a dead body.
Right? And then I was a hallucination that got a little bit forgotten about, so I just kept going on accident.
Nothing wrong with that. Hallucinations play by their own rules. But yeah, playing a dead body as one of your first characters is kind of an initiation. That's how I started. One weekend event, I played 3 dead bodies and then a merchant that became a dead body.
Heck yeah, a pre-dead body.
So, yeah.
My
Well,
dead body was definitive. I'm just gonna say it. Like, everyone remembers it. It was the best. Like, I'm gonna let you finish, but
you set a par for dead bodies. Like, everyone strives to reach the par that Becca set for dead bodies.
yeah, and I'm humble AF.
Awesome.
Was that the dead body that had the unknown infection?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got carted around. It was fun.
And then we burned the cart.
The sad thing is there wasn't even an infection there. It was story to get people to go do the thing.
What do you mean there wasn't an infection?
So that story that was happening was it was a made up infection by the in-game characters to create a reason why they needed to go to the certain area to go get the flower.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember now.
That was the Desjardins noble, and they assassinated him.
We convinced everybody the infection was real.
It's true. So awesome. Well, anybody else have any other topics, anything that they would like to talk about or bring to the table?
Let's talk about artifacts.
Artifacts. What do we want to talk about artifacts? Like what aspect?
I have some days, today is one of those days, not understanding how they're made, essentially.
Sure.
Because I will need to make one at some point soon.
So I'll give you a little bit of a rundown and then ask questions and we can go from there. So every artifact requires 3 different crafters to be involved with making it. You need a artisan, an artificer, and an alchemist, the 3 A's. Each one has to make some part of it in order for it to become an artifact. And the recipes for those tend to be a little bit more complicated or a little stylized for that specific artifact. So, like, for example, one of the recent artifacts that we had was Nova's portal generating device. In it, there was the box itself, the container for the device. There was the power source, and then there was the liquid that was like a fuel for it.
Do you remember what type of crafter made what piece?
Yeah, so the box of it was made by a artisan. The crystal was a artificer.
That was the power source.
Yeah, basically it was the engine of it, what caused the effect to happen. And then the fuel that was required for it to run was the liquid, and that was made by an alchemist. But that was also a kind of a special case. And
that was a plot device.
It was a plot device. But every artifact, basically, when a player wants to make an artifact, they come to the GMs and say, hey, I want to make this. So then the GMs know that's what you want to do, and then we can work on the recipe and we can get it into the game for you. So, like,
get it into the game, then put the recipes out there for the pieces?
Yeah. So, like, for example, the new knowledges that are out there are probably going to be pretty heavily used with creating artifacts. So, like, an artificer might be like, I really want to create an artifact or that does an area of effect heal. Right?
That'd be pretty powerful.
It would be pretty powerful. And depending on, like, what the nature of it is, maybe it's we've had artifacts that were masks, we've had artifacts that were boxes. There was an artifact that was a skull that we saw in the game at one point. An artifact can be any physical kind of object. It could be an amulet, or it can be something else. And depending on what you're wanting, the GMs will custom make these recipes for you, so that all you have to do is just try to get them in game, and we'll already have the recipes to be able to hand to you.
Are artifacts one-time use items?
Not normally. Normally they have some way to repeat themselves.
It'll be typically like basically like a charge per event or something like that, or a charge per day.
Yeah. One example of an artifact that is in the world is Layad's mask. Layad is a powerful fae that jumps into game every once in a while. And their mask actually does have an area of effect heal associated with it. But it can only be used once per full moon, which for us works out to be about once per game.
Okay.
So when it comes to artifacts, you just have to come up with what you want it to do, let the GMs know what it is that you're looking for, and then we'll create the recipe for it. Depending on what you choose you want it to do, the recipes might not be super complicated, or they might be very complicated. Like with Nova's portal generating device, we chose that it could be used again, but in order to be used again, you had to make more of the fuel. So every time it's used, you had to make more fuel for it.
Interesting. Okay.
So, which fit with the technology aspect of her artifact.
There's also the thing, like, there will be the recipes that are discovered in game as parts of like different quest lines and stuff. So
you'll see stuff that just pops up. So if you don't want to have the responsibility of of thinking up an artifact to do for your mastery level guild work, there will be recipes that pop up from time to time.
Yeah. And maybe that's something that your character's like, I really want to work on an artifact, I just don't know what. Well, if you tell us that, then we can make sure to drop some clues or some things into the game that you can pursue as a character and go after it yourself. Does that help shine some light on it?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. I don't know. Awesome. Any other topics or questions, guys? No?
Let's see. Oh, goodness.
Well, we may call this one a little bit early. We've been going for about an hour now, which is not bad. Our last meeting had a lot of information in it. So for anybody that's watching this one and you missed the last meeting, go take a look at our YouTube. It was about a month before this one aired. And there's a lot of rule changes, a lot of updates that we rolled out. And just as kind of a reminder of that, if you have not created an account on our website, please go ahead and do so. That way we can get your characters and your profile linked to your account so you can see all your inventory and everything else going on with your character. Also, something that will probably be happening in the near future is going to be our material changeover. You'll need to have access to your inventories so that we can roll out the new materials to everybody. So everybody that has commons, rares, abundant, well, nobody has abundance because those go away. But anybody that has any of those materials will eventually become specific types of materials like ore, stone, animal, plant, chemical, or even potentially magic and tech. So all of that is rolling out. We'll be doing that update soon. Expect that to happen before game hits, before we start our first in-person game.
Also, with our next social, it might be another big rollout of some more mechanics and stuff.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am excited about some of the things that we are discussing. I want to see them get finalized and come out. I think it's going to add some awesome aspects to our game. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I have for us today. If anybody has any other topics or things they want to discuss, feel free to bring them up. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Thank you all for being a part of Meadowmere LARP, being our citizens. We do this game because of you. We enjoy it. We love interacting with all of you. So come join us.